I had no phone number, no address, no last name. But how many people could there be in a small town of Grants Pass, Oregon, in a small county, trying to put their property and land patent? They had to talk to people. They had to talk to cartographers. They had to talk to county people, various county people. They had to talk to people. They probably got some opinions from some realtors or some mortgage brokers or whatever, because I had to do all those things. So I started going around to all those places, those county offices and stuff, to find Tom. And I spent the rest of Friday night, all day Saturday, started doing it on Sunday, and I'm starting to get discouraged. I got to be at work on Monday morning. I got to drive back home. I didn't even have a hotel room for Sunday night. And I hadn't found Tom yet. And I finally walked into this nice little lady at one of the county offices. And I started telling her how hard I've been trying to find him and all this stuff. And she goes, and she kind of scratched her head a little bit. And she says, I don't know who this Tom guy is you're looking for, but I think you might mean Ron. So all weekend, I didn't even have the right first name. No last name, no address, no phone number. And I said, okay, we're getting somewhere. Ron, do you know Ron? Do you know what his last name is? Do you know where he lives? Do you have his... She had it all. So she wrote it all down for me. And his name was Ron Gibson. And I went out, I called Ron Gibson. I said, oh my gosh, I found you. I've been looking. I told him the whole story. I just poured it out. I said, can I take you to dinner? Can I buy you dinner? And he said, sure, come by my house. I said, great. Went by his house, picked him up. We went out to dinner. And we went through what we were doing together. And here is the cool part of it all. Ron looks at me and he says, God told me to do it this way. And I looked at the way he was doing it and I said, you know what? God had been telling me to do it this way, and we're both doing it the same way. What's the odds of that? Two people don't know each other, live in different parts of the state, same state. And the reason Ron did it is Southern Oregon, this southern east or west side, is a gold mining utopia. There's lots of gold down there. Okay? Me, where I live, I own gold mining claims up in the northeast side of Oregon. In the northeast and the southwest are the only two parts of Oregon with lots of gold in it. There's a little bit in the Cascades, but not a lot. So we're both from mining areas, and mining patents are really important. Really important. That ground is rich, and there's mining that takes place. And miners want mining patents. They're always talking about mining patents. How I learned about land patents was through, how Ron learned about land patents was through, because during both of our lifetimes, they did away with patents as far as our common knowledge, right? So if we both weren't involved with miners, I used to be president of the Central Oregon Miners Association. Just hobby. Anyway, I've done a lot of things. But if we weren't involved with that, we never would have did this, or found this, or discovered it. And discovered that there's land patents for lots of different things. There's railroad land patents and mining land patents and all kinds of them. Ron describes in the first 5 or 6 pages of this book. And then he has almost 100 pages of law in this book. And then on page 114 tells us steps to doing the land patent in this book. Okay? So I highly recommend this book. He was such a good patriot, he wrote this book too. Another good book. I don't sell too many of these. They're great books, don't get me wrong. But as far as Ron's concerned, I focus on this. And I probably sell more of Ron's books than Ron sells of his books, because I contact a whole lot more people. And I believe in it 100%. See? Now, I could never write a book that good. So why don't I just promote his? I could never write a book like Mike Blackwell wrote, or Glenn Furman, or so I promote theirs because they're good for us all, right? I want to bring things to you that are good for you. Now, the land patent book, I highly recommend you get one if you own a piece of property or you're buying a piece of property in the near future. Get it. Learn about real estate contracts before you buy property. Now, in saying that, I not only put my property in land patent back then, but I put more than 100 properties of friends and people in Oregon that I knew. I put into their properties in land patent. I've helped people in Indiana and Illinois and Pennsylvania and other places put their properties in land patent. I don't do that anymore. I have not the time. We need people to be experts in land patents and go help others. You want to make $250,000 a year? Well, let me tell you how to do it. Go put 10 people a month's property in land patent, 10 of your neighbors, and then you'll go start getting referrals. And pretty soon, you're not going to start out that way. You might start out with 1, then you'll get 2, then you'll get 3. Pretty soon, 20 people will be calling you. And you'll build up a list of people you got to do, and you'll be able to do maybe 10, 12 a month. And 12 a month, you do it for $2,500 a piece, which is a bargain. It costs you about $500 plus all your time. That's $250,000 a year.
Can you do that in Alaska?
Huh?
Can you do that in Alaska?
You can mining patents. That's the only thing they allow you to do in Alaska. See, here's the problem. It's not the United States. Sorry. Well, it kind of is, but it really isn't. Same, you have some problems because of when you came in. You can only go back to when you came in, when it was created. We can go back till when we were created. When were we created? I mean, you as a living being, I mean the country, the nation. Were we? 1607 with the Virginia Compact. That was our creation. 1620 with the Mayflower Compact. Those kind of joining. We became 13 colonies. We were created with the Virginia Compact. Declaration wasn't our first document. It really wasn't. But it is among the laws we go by today. See? Yeah, history is important. You know, there's people that study law all their life, and they don't know a darn thing about history. And when people study the law all their life and they don't know anything about history, they're never going to truly know law. And people that study history, who don't study law, are never truly going to know history. They really won't. And both of them aren't going to know either one without God's Word. It is only when you put God's Word with history, with the law, together, that you really start to understand the things I'm teaching you. And I never probably would have been interested in history in my life, except my mother at a very young age, got me interested in genealogy and what my grandfathers did. I mean, our family trips were to go see what our ancestors did, where they were buried. Man, I visited more cemeteries in this country than you can believe. I saw more headstones, my family name on buildings, and streets, and rivers, and all kinds of things. My mom and dad made sure. I mean, he bought a Winnebago. That was his first motorhome. His last one was a Provost. Total cattle. And we traveled around the country every opportunity we could to go see my family history. And I've traced more than 20,000 of my direct grandmothers and grandfathers back all the way down. Only on one line. You know how fast and how many people. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that got me into history. Because every time we traveled to see what my grandfathers did, we learned more and more about history, including that document where I have a grandfather sitting. When I say grandfather, it's several grandfathers back. Okay? Understand that. You know what that did? That made me see how beautiful this nation was. It made me love this country. It made me very patriotic. Because I know that my grandfathers, since they landed on these shores, have fought in every war for this country, for freedom this nation has ever had. I had a grandfather at Lexington and Concord that started it off. On and on and on and on and on through history. Yeah, I was on the USS Texas. What's the odds of that? Understand, that was a God thing. That he was on that boat during World War II as a 5-inch gunner shooting shells that weighed more than 100 pounds 20 miles over an island to hit something. They were that good in the Pacific during World War II. I wasn't born in Texas. I didn't have that Texas spirit, or did I? See, I think it's in my DNA. Don't get me wrong. I will always love this country up here more than anything. And the biggest reason is its beautiful trees, its really high mountains, its crystal clear waters. I can take you to the lake in Oregon where you can get on a canoe, row out in the middle of the lake, look down, and see fish 300 feet down, and you can see trees. Big old Douglas fir trees standing up 200 feet right in the bottom of the lake. Perfectly preserved by the temperature. Now, lake, you don't want it. I've scuba dived in it with a very well-insulated scuba suit, and I've swum amongst those trees. And it is colder. You cannot, even with gear, you can't stay in very long. It's the coldest water I've ever been in. It should be ice. It's that cold. And it's coming up that cold from the bottom. That whole lake's a spring. Anyway, if you've never got up there, take a vacation. Start looking around. This is a great and beautiful country. Maine, oh my gosh. In September, look, the reason I'm telling you this is because this land is important. You need to own it. You need to own it. It's that important. If you have a piece of property right now, you have a warranty deed, you don't own your land. A warranty deed is called an abstract. What is it? Look up the word abstract in the legal dictionary. What is it? It's a fallacy. There's entire companies out there called abstracting companies. There's positions called abstractors. Title companies nowadays don't want to go back even to the last grand deed, a lot of them. They will only go back through the abstracts because they have a guy in their office or a woman in their office called an abstractor. And that's all they want to show you. And try and get a lot of these title companies. It's not so bad in Oklahoma, Texas, this area. But in some areas of the country,